Nah, the photo shoot I did yesterday, I wore 3 outfits, and the first outfit, I looked like I was 500 pounds. I wanted to cry. Do you know anybody who went on Ozempic or no?
No.
Okay.
Only famous people.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like there's been some people who might have went around here, but.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure people are. I'm sure people are popping it like candy.
Get your hands on it. No, it's a shot.
It's a
It's
shot.
not a pill. It's a shot that you put in your. Or are you?
In your stomach.
Are we going, or are you ready to go? Yeah, it's a shot you put in your abdomen.
Oh.
And then I heard that it there's all kinds of like bad side effects, like your farts and your burps are like terrible.
Yeah,
That's truly
you're
what
losing
I've
all the
heard.
weight.
It's all gas weight,
Yeah,
man.
It's all gas, man.
Yeah, it's all gas.
That's my
weight.
problem. Yeah, I would drop 20 pounds.
20 pounds of straight gas.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a gas ball, but that's just me. Anyways, Olivia, thanks for coming on. It's good to see you. I didn't realize how long it'd been since you'd been here before.
Thanks for having me back. I know it's been like 2 years.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I know.
Time flies when you record once a week for us. So, yeah.
Right.
No, but no, I know, and I know we were chatting a little bit beforehand.
Yeah, thanks for bringing these bad boys.
Yeah.
Of course.
Thanks for learning me what acai
Cheers.
is.
Start to the summer, you know.
Shout out. It's so the good thing about that, Andrew, is if there is real acai in it, very high in antioxidants.
It's not going to be fake. I got too many
could be.
antioxidants, though.
You already have too many?
I got way too many, dude.
You're drinking the wrong drink then,
negative oxidants, man. That's what I've got. Will you turn my headphones down a little bit, Emily? Thank you. But I think one of the big changes, I feel like last time you were here, you had kind of just started to do, like, live shows. And now I see you. I know you're going up as much as you can wherever you can. I mean, what is that? What have you learned through doing that?
I think
you're performing live more.
Yeah, I think your guys' podcast here was one of the first, if not the first one that I did, which was nice because hadn't really been introduced to like podcasts or interviews, before that. So definitely gave me more comfortability, like being in front of people talking. You know why? Because like I can't talk in front of people on a stage. I can sing in front of people on a stage. It's like scary for me to talk in front of people, but not to sing. So if you ask me to like, or you book me to sing for like a wedding or something, I can sing for it fine. Not like nervous or anything, but to talk, oh my gosh, I get so nervous. It's like, it's hard to like talk in front of people.
Really?
Don't know why.
Because
yeah.
Hearing that initially, my thought is like, they're not all that different.
Yeah.
Is the difference just that one is a performance, so it sets you up in a certain mind space, or what?
Yeah, I think it's just mainly like when I sing, and when people sing, all you have to do is memorize the lyrics. Just memorize the song, and you got it, and you just sing. That's all you have to do. But when you talk, people ask you questions. You don't know what they're going to ask, stuff like that. And it's like you have to not only prepare your answer and figure it out, but like also how you're going to say it. And that can sometimes be like very tricky, especially if you're like not used to talking in front of people, like public speaking, but you can like sing in front of people. It's just like two totally different things.
That's fascinating because I really would not have thought. Although, you know what? Now that I say that,
would you rather talk in front of a group?
100%. Like I have no problem talking in front of people, but now that you say that, like I've never done karaoke before because I just lose my nerve every time. It's like there's a karaoke machine around or something.
You get nervous?
That. Yeah, I get super nervous. Really? That everybody's just gonna. I don't want to make everybody cry with how beautiful my voice is.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm just terrified of that happening. So really, I'm just thinking about everybody else. But that's the kind of guy I am.
Yeah, karaoke. I haven't been there lately. The last time I did karaoke was probably like 2 or 3 years ago. They did it at this like American Legion Hall, and I like had a lot of family and friends that were there and everything. But it really amazes me, like the people, the kinds of people that like show up to karaoke to like do it. Yeah. Because I'm going to be completely honest, if I wasn't a singer, like I did not sing at all, had no passion for it, and I did not sing, I don't know if I'd be finding myself going to like karaoke nights, like singing in front of random people when I know I sound like shit. You know what I mean?
Let me tell you something. I think a lot of those people don't know they sound like shit, or they don't care.
Like, but I know, and I'm watching them, and I'm like, I want to be that person that like that views it as like fun, because when I go to karaoke night and I show, it's like a competition.
Yeah,
like I want to see whoever else is like good in the room and like do like a voice battle. It's really fun, but it's really kind of it's hilarious though too, because sometimes I just watch and like half the people that go up there are drunk, and I don't even know like what they're doing. They're just kind of reading the words off the screen and stuff, which is what you do in karaoke. But like, it's fun to like watch people and stuff. But these people are like religiously going. They'll go like weekly to the same spot to do the karaoke, and I just don't know if I could be that dedicated and loyal to something. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if it wasn't like my passion already,
Yeah, I hear you.
So yeah.
Yeah, as a world-renowned karaoke singer, I can say a few things. One, yeah, definitely, there's always alcohol involved when it comes to singing karaoke, at least from my personal experiences. And it is an absolute blast. And I do know that I sound horrible, but I have a great stage presence. That's and that's half the battle in karaoke.
Right.
Yeah.
When it comes to karaoke.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all you need.
You don't strike me as somebody who would even be caught out in like a public outing with like singing, even like let alone singing.
Yeah. You don't seem like you're around people a lot.
In a normal headspace, I wouldn't be. But
Who do you go with?
I don't go regularly. I don't have a karaoke routine. But if I happen upon an establishment and there is karaoke being performed, to me, I'm kind of the opposite of both of you. Like, if I can get a microphone in my hand, I don't care if I'm talking or singing or emceeing. I'll do whatever. I'll MC any event.
Yeah,
like if somebody hands me a microphone, I'll just start talking.
Yeah.
Could be absolute nonsense.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, to your point though, karaoke, like singing in general, not going to compare karaoke to like what going up on stage and actually singing in front of people compared to just doing karaoke, but what you're about to say. Like there's no, you're about to sing. Whereas talking, you just make it up on the fly.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what happens in my head, at least.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. That's kind of also, I've gotten back into acting recently, like theater stuff, and I kind of
really?
actually have you to thank for that because
really?
We had a teacher, a mutual teacher in high school, Miss Doby.
Yep, Tammy, yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she saw you on this podcast back when, and then she was doing some play, and they needed a guy like me, and she reached out and was like, can you come do this and stuff?
I didn't know you'd do that.
I had stopped for like a really long time.
I didn't know you were ever into acting.
Yeah, some say I was the best in the game. And then I had to get out, but
yeah, right up there with Adam Sandler.
Yeah, pretty much. The two greatest actors in the world, me and the Sandman.
Yeah,
Murder Mystery 2.
It's still, they made that.
I know.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying, not a bad film.
Okay,
that and the Cobbler.
Cool.
That and the Cobbler.
Cobbler's pretty good. Cobbler's pretty good.
Top five Adam Sandler films. Click.
Well, Click, I think that's some pretty. But he does do some crazy acting now. Like, what was that? Uncut Gems, obviously.
Oh my gosh, I saw Uncut Gems. I wasn't sure whether to rate it 10 stars or 1 star. I mean, it was just.
And have you seen?
Oh, it was so much.
Yeah.
Have you seen that movie, that Netflix movie where he's the scout for the 76ers?
Oh, no, the basketball one?
Yeah,
no.
That's a good movie.
Yeah.
That's a serious role, I would say.
No, he seems like a
50 First Dates.
50 First Dates, great flick.
Just go with it. That was the first movie I watched.
Jennifer Aniston?
Yes, yeah, that's the first one I watched with Adam Sandler, and I immediately fell in love with it. I mean, just the whole plot. I mean, the characters. I love the little girl and the boy in it. Like, they were so good.
What's the one I love about the storybook one?
Oh, Bedtime Stories.
Bedtime Stories.
Classic.
Unreal film.
Yeah.
Raining Gumballs.
Yep.
Wait, so what happened then with the gig,
Oh, yeah, it worked out, and the people at that theater asked me to come back and do a couple different shows for them. But again, that's something that you've probably experienced as well with your performing, is like people being like, "Oh, I could never do that."
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, when you have a script to memorize, it is a lot easier.
It is, and I always thought too, because I've always had a passion for acting, but I always thought, wow, it's gonna be so hard to remember this monologue and remember these lines. But then I'm like, if I can memorize songs, why can't I memorize monologues?
Yeah.
But I did try to get into the acting industry, officially. It was last summer, and there was this it's this organization, this company, this acting company in Buffalo that had this big event in downtown Buffalo that I went to. And let's just say it wasn't like how I thought it was going to be. So I was kind of disappointed because, it wasn't free. But it was just like vendors and stuff. I mean, there was like a 20-minute acting lesson that I went to in the building. They had different stuff going on throughout the day, but it was kind of disappointing because it wasn't anything like super like important to note because all that stuff you can just get online. You know what I mean? So with that being said, I've kind of stepped away from like thinking about any acting. I do have a friend who is signed to an agency and she has some really, really good gigs. Like she does commercials like for Wegmans, stuff like that.
Cool.
She was in that movie Cabrini that came here to Buffalo, that movie about the Italian immigrant. But honestly, where I'm at right now, it's kind of like I'm so far into like my singing career and like the singing industry that it wouldn't make sense for me to like dive into a whole nother industry in a whole nother like field that I'm not really that passionate about. Like I'm a little, but like not as much as I am near singing. So it'd be kind of foolish for me to like get into something that it's not gonna like really be cut out for me like that, because singing is like, that's my field, and acting, it's like that's kind of something that you do just because it's like your hobby, you know what I mean? That's not like a life-given passion to me. But definitely, if I ever got like the right opportunity, I would definitely maybe get a role or something, which is just hard too, because both industries, like the sports industry and the music industry and the acting industry, there's a lot of different stuff going on. You got to be aware of people, you got to be aware of organizations, scams, stuff like that. And I've learned that like the hard way. It's like it's very hard to get anywhere when there's people who really just don't have your best interest.
Yeah, there's so much of that out there. And I feel like the one good thing about, or one of the good things about, like, I listen to a lot of podcasts that will have, like, comedians or, like, actors and stuff on, and they'll tell stories about how they have, like, gotten ripped off and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like before, you just had to learn the hard way. Mm-hmm. And I know, like, for me, if I were to kind of basically get scammed like that, I would be like, oh, fuck, I'm a piece of shit. Like, this is it. This is it for me. But knowing that, like, this happens, it happens to everybody. Like, this is a lesson that you have to learn in these industries. Mm-hmm. And it's tough. That, I think it makes makes things feel a little better.
Yeah, I mean, definitely it would have been nice to know growing up, like when I was a child, that once I'm old enough to start doing like shows and stuff and showcases. Because when I did come here 2 years ago for this episode, I was just getting into like doing showcases and stuff. And I wish I had known 10 years ago that this stuff wouldn't be free. Like when you go perform at these showcases with other artists to like compete and stuff, it's not free. Like you have to pay your way. And it's so absolutely really, really annoying because, a lot of the time, I mean, I think the cheapest one I did was like $75, and you're performing for less than 10 minutes. And, I did a show at venue. I did a show at venue and then I did a showcase, but showcase was like you get to perform 3 songs for like $250. And if you're lucky enough to have family and friends like come support you, you get that money back like when they buy tickets, because, that's fine. But a lot of the time, and other artists too, they don't have really a support system. Maybe like just a few friends show up and like they get $20-$30 in tickets. But at the end of the day, like as an artist, you're paying your way to like, perform in these showcases. You're literally paying just to have somebody hear you. And at the end of the day, there's a 5% chance, not even 10%, 5% chance that you're going to go home either winning or you're going to go home with somebody, like an agent or a manager saying, oh, I want to communicate with you. I want to connect with you. I want to, really kind of sign you on and get to know you and make big things happen for you. Nobody does that. Especially not around here. I don't know about New York or, like Miami or those LA, those big cities, but that stuff is very, very slim.
Folks, if you like what you're seeing here, don't forget to check out the Patreon page. Links in the episode description. That is patreon.com/snackspot. We've got a lot of good episodes of the Captions On podcast on there, as well as a few of the short-lived Bad Directions, which legally had to be shut down, but it's still a lot of fun. So make sure you go check that out. Best part is, of course, it's only $3 a month to sign up. Again, that's patreon.com/snackspot. Hit the link in this episode description and check it out for yourself. Folks, it's hot out there. Summer is in full swing, all right? And if you're going to a party, going to a barbecue, hanging out by the pool, you're not going to want to show up empty-handed, okay? Nobody likes that guy. But the good news is, even if you're running late, even if you forget last minute, you don't have to worry because you can use Instacart to get whatever it is you're looking for delivered directly to your door in as little as 1 hour. And using Instacart, you get not just groceries, but some of your favorite products from some of your favorite local stores, again, delivered right to your front door. And the best part is, right now, 2 in the Cooler listeners get free delivery on their first order of $10 or more. All you have to do to get that deal is hit the link in this episode description. Start making things a little easier on yourself and start using Instacart today. Folks, you like comfort? Then we have got the place for you. You have got to check out snackspot.se/creator/teespring.com for all the great merch we have got over there. T-shirts, hoodies, slides, a lot of summer essentials like drinkware, water bottles, fanny packs, bucket hats, whatever it is you're looking for, all kinds of great stuff, not just for this show, but also for Schemin' and Dreamin' and also Quested, the other 2 podcasts we produce right here. So, again, if you want to get something that's going to make you feel good, make you look good, all right, and help support the show, again, check that out, snackspot.se/creator/teespring.com. Link is in this episode description. Go get yourself something nice. And if you're interested in advertising on this show or our twin show Schemin' and Dreamin' or Quested, the Dungeons & Dragons podcast that we produce right here, you can email us at snackspotsports@gmail.com for details on how you can start reaching thousands of listeners in the Buffalo area and beyond. All right, and I think, when you look at these massive businesses like McDonald's and State Farm that are now moving into the podcast space, it's very cool to see because these are such well-known companies and their ad budgets are huge. They're doing spots on the Super Bowl and things like that. And it's great to see them, move away from more traditional media like TV or whatever into the podcasting space. Something a little more relevant, something that makes it very easy for you to reach specific demographics. But the problem is, those companies coming into the space hasn't really left any room for smaller or even local businesses to get in on the action. So if you are interested in learning more about all the benefits to podcast advertising, again, hit us up, reach out to us at snackspotsports@gmail.com.
Nowadays, if you're going to get big, you either have to have a viral song on TikTok, which I'm pretty sure we all know that's been happening for a few years now, or, you kind of, you reach a bigger artist and they kind of have you do a feature, and then that's how you, kind of make it pave your own way. But then again, that's kind of hard because, how are you going to reach such a huge celebrity, such a huge artist, if you're down here, you know what I mean? If you're not established or maybe not well known, it's hard to kind of reach those celebrities. But I will say, for example, I never knew who The Weeknd was until I heard him on Love Me Harder with Ariana Grande. I was like, oh my God, that song's so beautiful. I love it. And when I was back in high school and that song came out, I was like, wow, this is my favorite song. They both have such a good voice. And so she kind of brought him on. And I thought, wow, look at that. Blinding Lights was the #1 most streamed song on Spotify, Apple Music for over 2 years. When Blinding Lights came out, it actually beat, if you know that song by the Goo Goo Dolls, Iris. It was on the top charted song, for years, and nobody touched that slot. No song went over them until Blinding Lights came out. Jesus. So to think that nobody knew who The Weeknd was until Ariana Grande had him featured, that is so amazing to me, to think that you don't know who an artist is, nobody knows until they get featured on a song, and then people like their voice, they like how the feature sounds, he does his own stuff, he drops a record, he drops an album, boom, fan base, credibility, just really, really good stuff. And I was a Weeknd fan for very, very long time, so it's cool to see that kind of stuff happen. But that's how people get big. These celebrities and these singers have somebody feature on their song, and then their fan base likes them, and then they get bigger and they blow up. So that's also another way how people do get big in the industry nowadays too.
So based on that, I guess, and I think the last time you were in, you had just released a song the last time you were here.
Album, yeah.
Yeah, an album, yeah. It was a long time ago. And but since then, I know you've been working on some different projects. You know, you're performing live and stuff like that. So is there kind of a split of that where part of it's like, okay, well, I want to hone my craft, right? You know, work on the songs that I'm coming out with, work on performing them. But the other part of that then being, you know, trying to build a little bit of your own following at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely it's difficult to want to do music full time because everybody knows this and everybody says it doesn't pay well. Like, we all know that. And so kind of what you said about, you know, building a fan base and stuff like that. I am not one, and I'm sure you guys know this based on my following. I'm not one to pay for followers. I don't do that. I've seen people pay for followers before. It's not organic. You know, you can see the comments that people will post, and it's just all bots. And sometimes I'll spend the time to go through each comment on people's pages, and I'll just click the profile. It's just, everything's fake. The whole profile is fake. It's just bots. Who wants that? I don't. So I've been naturally growing my account through growth opportunities, like on Facebook and TikTok, where it's basically just like a thread of people just posting their usernames and stuff, and we all just follow each other and follow back. And so I've been doing that. But yeah, as for followers go and stuff, if they don't come naturally, I don't want them, because, you know, not all followers are good followers. I can't tell you how many people I have on my account, on my page, that watch my stories every single day, and maybe like 20 or 30 interacts and, like, you know, engage and stuff. So, you know, and like, I don't really care about followers, because it really goes to show you that at the end of the day, like, somebody can have 10K followers, but they suck at what they do. And then there could be somebody who has like 200 or 100 followers, and it's like, wow, like, they're the real deal. Like, you know, they actually sound really good. It's just stuff like that. And it could be for anything. It could be for sports, you know, music, acting, dancing, whatever. Real estate, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So, but I definitely like organic. I like natural. Definitely should work on that more. But that's why I downloaded TikTok. I've been having a lot of just random strangers all over the world like interact with me, comment on my stuff, request songs for me to sing, stuff like that, which is nice. But then again, it's just like, at the end of the day, like, music does not pay 100%. Like, I've been singing for as long as I can remember, and I've been trying to like get bookings in like restaurants, you know, public places, stuff like that. And I've been trying for like years, but the issue was that I did not have like a team. Like, I didn't have an agent, so anything that I had to find myself. And I didn't really have anybody to accompany me. Usually when you go out, you see a band playing, a 4-piece, 5-piece band, or you see somebody with a pianist or, you know, a guitarist, and the person's singing. So it's like a duo. I never had that. And anybody that I did have in mind that I reached out to took a shit on me. They never got back to me. They never texted me back, or maybe wasn't serious about it. So maybe because I'd never done it before. Whereas regulars, you know, people are like, okay, well, they performed here, here, and here, like, boom, boom, boom. Like, yeah, like, let's meet up. We'll rehearse. We'll do this 3-hour gig, blah, blah, blah. Well, I never had that. So it was really hard. I do feel like I was kind of put at a little bit of a disadvantage, but I didn't let that, like, you know, kind of tell me what to do. I didn't give up. So I'm proud to say, after this long, I finally have my first gig booked at the end of this month at a luxury bar and restaurant, 5-star hotel, downtown Buffalo, 3-hour gig, and I'm getting paid for it. And nice. I'm excited to like finally do that, because anywhere that I've sang before, as in like a contest or a show or a showcase, I've always had to pay to sing. Now they're paying me to perform. And it is like, it's a good, you know, bucket list thing that I can say, you know, now that I've done. So, yeah.
That's great.
Congrats. Thanks. Congratulations, everyone.
Thank you.
Are the details for that already out, or is it not?
It's not out yet.
Gotcha.
I'm going to post probably maybe like a week in advance or a few days. There's reasons why I don't post everything I do, just because there's certain reasons that, you know, some people on social media, you just got to be aware of what you post. Just, you know, stranger danger, stuff like that. I'd be lying if I said there wasn't some, you know, creepers. There's definitely people out there who will religiously show up to where you are if they know where you are, and I don't want that. You know, I am single. I'm not married or anything. I don't have anybody to really be there for me, like protect me as in like a masculine figure, besides my family. So obviously my family comes to my shows and everything, but I'm single. I don't want people like men. It's usually middle-aged, older, like late 30s. I had a married guy in my messenger, in my Facebook Messenger, like a few weeks ago. And
a married guy move.
Yeah,
Facebook Messenger.
Yeah, and so it's really it can be scary. And so getting back to I always like go off track, sorry, but it can be a little much. So I don't tend to post as much as I should, especially like location wise, because I know if I do, these people will show up, and I don't have security or anything. The only security that I would have is security that's on site there at the location. So yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it is what it is, and sometimes it is what is expected, because I've had like my friends and family tell me, well, you're in the show business, I mean, this is what you do, I mean, that you're just gonna have to get used to it. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I know, but like married men, like people with kids, like you, like why are you trying to communicate with me? Obviously, like they're blocked, but like you just don't know. So sometimes when you post where you're gonna be like too far ahead in advance, like
they got too much time to plan.
Not
like
Jesus.
No, like to make sure they show up. Like if you posted the day before and they have children, they might have to watch their kids.
Exactly.
I better get a babysitter so I can go stalk this person.
It wasn't in a crate.
That's just so wild.
No, that's why I'm saying it's crazy. Like I'm agreeing.
Right.
Yeah,
right,
like
though.
it's
You're right.
It's weird.
No,
it's hard to find. It's hard to find daycares, these days.
I know,
Very tough
it
to find
is.
childcare.
Yeah, I know. But I will post it maybe like, I don't know, a week or so in advance. But yeah, or sometimes what I even do is like I'll post like, okay guys, show next week. This is the time it's at. This is the day it's at. DM me, message me for location.
That's kind of cool.
Because if you message me and said, I want to come hear you sing, like, I know it's you messaging me, I'll tell you. And like, you know what I mean? So if it's some random person saying, oh, where is it at? I'm not going to reply to them. I'm not going to message them back where it's at. You know what I mean? So you can kind of, go like with moves like that and stuff. But you just got to be careful. And I definitely, I worry for some of the girls I've seen like locally in the industry who don't have a support system, like who don't have family with them, like when they do stuff like that. And they're like younger than me. And it's just like, you have to be so careful. Like, don't let anybody buy you a drink. Like, don't. Yeah, that's basically kind of where my head is at. But once you kind of get more established and stuff, I don't have a website or anything yet, but once you do have your website, you kind of have to like post like where you're gonna be. There's some people around here that do have websites, and they're pretty well known that they do post where they're gonna be at, and they have gigs 2 or 3 times a week. And so I know that they probably get regulars. I don't know so much about stalkers, but definitely if there was ever an issue with anybody, you could always just tell like management or whoever, wherever you're singing, oh, this guy's being weird, stuff like that. But I haven't had an issue yet.
Yeah, well, Jesus, I mean, that's good. You keep bringing up your support system. So when you are going to some of these showcases and things, you're showing up places you got to pay to perform, and you see these duos or these bands also, and you're just kind of there by yourself. Is that a little alienating? And what, honestly, Olivia, I mean, what with all these challenges, like what's the driving factor for you?
Honestly, at the end of the day, even if it is a really good opportunity that I may have to pay like a little cash for, I don't mind it. But at the end of the day, the goal is really to just get exposure, let people know that I exist. I don't have like a fan base or anything or a lot of followers, so a lot of people don't know that, I'm a singer in the area, and they don't know that I have music out and stuff like that. So, at the end of the day, it's really just, show people who I am and, what I do, and that I've been doing this for a while, and, kind of maybe gain a little bit more exposure in the city. That's basically kind of what I aim for.
And it's interesting to hear you talk about how you are doing it, because it's different than probably a lot of people, but potentially in a bit more of like a genuine way, right? Like you just want to kind of get that what's the word I'm looking for? Like
credibility.
Gain that credibility just through performing and nothing, you know what I mean? Like just solely based on
like
what you're able to do
in person.
Yeah,
stuff,
exactly,
in real life
as
stuff.
opposed to and you touched on a little bit, like growing in some aspects of the social media and stuff like that, but mostly it seems like you are pretty committed to wanting to grow your music just through people listening to your music, not
organically.
through, not through anything else.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I definitely agree with what you said, and I think that the other thing too is like in real life, in person, like public, scenarios where you see somebody sing, you see somebody perform, or somebody say you hear your favorite song being played or being performed, you're like, wow, like they're doing it really good. Like they're actually singing that song really good, even though they might be doing it in their version, singing it their way. You're like, wow, they really killed that song. And you're like, I'd kind of like to see how they sing other songs. So like you go on their social media and see their music and stuff like that. That is kind of cool to me as well. Another thing that I don't really understand, maybe you guys can help me understand it, is when people brag about their Spotify streams. I most of the time when people brag about their streams, they really want to, unload the fact that they are getting so many streams from people all around the world. Mm-hmm. Okay. But why does nobody know you in our city? What? Can somebody please answer that question for me? I've had so many people say, you got to get your streams up. You got to get your streams up.
I think it's a lot of what you've been saying this whole time with people getting bots for followers and things like that. Like, so much is based on, so much is put into just looks. You know what I'm saying? And not necessarily substance.
Yeah.
I think
that's really all. That's really all is. I think that there's definitely this feeling of like, regardless of where these numbers are coming from or whatever, that if you have something that looks good, then you will be good.
That's what they think, you mean?
Yeah, that's what I think. That's what, whether they're super conscious of it or not, mm-hmm. I think that is the feeling. Like maybe if I pay to get this many followers or streams, mm-hmm. Then maybe I am as good as whoever the people I like or something like that. Or maybe that does give me some kind of credibility.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think there's two different ways to look at it. I think in terms of bragging about it, like making it public information, a lot of it is probably what you're saying, Andrew, is trying to convince themselves that, like, or trying to, it's bragging is what it is, right? Trying to convince other people that, they're as good as maybe they think they are. But
if all these people are listening, I must be good, so you should listen too.
I think the other part of it is, and it's one of the reasons why a lot of entertainment industries, right, whether it's music or acting or even, podcasting, there's so many, well, look at music specifically, there's so many genres and subgenres of music now that people become fans of, and there's so many artists out there that are putting out music every day. You know what I mean? I don't, who knows how many new things are going on Spotify every day. And, I think it's hard because you can, as an artist now, it's good. There's good and bad to it because you can find a really niche.
I've heard of both ways.
A really niche, like, fan base, right? That really loves like your specific, like, sound, and loves that kind of subgenre of music, like whatever it is that artist create. Whereas it might not be as mainstream, and so the majority of people might not know that it exists as much as those more loyal to the sound type of people. Like I say that about myself with music all the time. I don't listen to a ton of music, so I'm not like I'm not the type of person that's like, oh, I found this new artist, you know what I mean? Where I have friends that are like, dude, like I found this new song. It's somebody random, and I'm like, oh, that's a good song. I will listen to that song now, but I'm not the type of person that would go out and find it myself. So I think in terms of knowing people, like when people say like, hey, this is how many streams I have, a lot of the times I would assume that it's, a bragging thing and probably not the right way to go about doing things. Whereas, if somebody does that, it doesn't necessarily mean that, I don't think it necessarily means that they don't have a following. It might just be like a niche group, right? So I don't know. It's tough. And I always try to think about it like from both perspectives, in the sense of like, there are probably people that are doing it for the wrong reasons, but then maybe there's people that are doing it for the right reasons, right? Maybe there's people that are trying to thank, in theory, in their head, they're doing it to thank that following. Thank you for streaming my song so many times. So I get it from both ways. I just think it's really hard for artists specifically because there's so much. Like, you go on Spotify and there's so much music. There's so many podcasts.
Yeah,
there's an infinite amount of content to be able to just throw your headphones on and listen to, to kind of like, to your point, there you have to do something a little bit different. And I do think what you're doing is that, right? Like, you're not trying to grow through, you're trying to grow through organic.
Yeah, and not digital so much.
Yeah, exactly.
The whole perspective you have on it is super interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
where does it come from, honestly?
It comes from people of the new generation trying to be so digital, and people,
So you see people that are about your age trying to do what you do and how they do it.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's so weird because it all goes back to like the name of your last album, "I Shall Not Conform." Like, that's really a mission statement for you, huh?
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, "I Shall Not Conform." Oh, such a good title. Sorry. I just had to give it a moment.
My music is great.
Not even, I don't want to say my music,
is.
but I mean the title of that album I just really loved, like when I named it that, because when I had so many different like album titles like written out, but as soon as I picked out "I Shall Not Conform," I was like, yep, there's no going back to any of the others. Like, I want this one. So yeah, it kind of relates to like what we're talking about now. But kind of getting back to what you said, like, it really, really baffles me. So I have a few people on Facebook that, I mean, they pay for, marketing and stuff. And so they have, a good amount of streams on Spotify for the music. So I have a few people on that. And one person actually messaged me and was like, look at my previous post, and, these are all my streams that I got, like, blah, blah, blah. And, you should really get on that. You should get your Spotify streams up and stuff like that. And here's what I really want. Let's pick apart this. I really want to pick apart this so that I can kind of understand it. So if you have, say, like what's a reasonable amount of streams for like a local, somebody around here, like 20,000 streams maybe. Okay, if you have 20,000 streams on like your song or like your album or something on Spotify, okay, like that's great. Like that's really good. Like, that's amazing. But why do people like around here in each city, from Buffalo to Niagara Falls to, Lewiston, Lockport to Rochester, Clarence, why does nobody know your name? If you what's the word I'm looking for? If you commend yourself to be that big, like with your streams and stuff, like, just why does nobody know you? Are you singing out? Are you doing gigs? How many times are you doing gigs? Are you doing gigs once a month, once a year, weekly? Are you doing multiple gigs a week? Because if you were, people would know your name. But you're telling me to get on those streams because maybe my streams aren't up. I don't have as many streams as you. But then again, nobody knows either you or me. So how does it really matter? How does it balance? Because at the end of the day, think about it. If somebody locally here has 20 or 30,000 streams, okay, so what is that showing? Let's calculate it. So that's showing that people worldwide, say from Japan, Australia, Italy, stuff like that, people are listening to your music all around the world. Okay, that's great. Well, me too. I've had all different countries on my Spotify. I've had Canada, Switzerland, Italy, all these different places. So why and how is that going to gain you anything if people in your city don't even know your name and don't even know who you are? How and what is it gaining you? Is it gaining you money? I mean, it might get you a little small paycheck at the end of the day, because I know after so many streams you do get paid. But if people don't know who you are in your own city, in Western New York, in each city from the Falls to Buffalo to Lockport, to whatever. They don't know you. The streams ain't shit. Am I right? Or am I right?
Sure.
Interesting. I'm really thinking about it. So like the worldwide, different countries, that's great. Like, that's amazing. And we've all had that. But what is it going to do for you if nobody in your city knows who you are? Like, the streams, like, I don't care. If I could get 500,000 streams on my Spotify right now, but nobody in my city knows who I am, it's doing me nothing. It's doing me nothing.
Yeah, but...
That's my mindset on that.
Yeah.
But let me hear it.
Well, I think, like, the way that I would think of it, and what you're... I think the bigger picture of what you're saying is, like, people can brag about streams and followers and this and that, but if it's not real, right? If it's fabricated numbers, however, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I think it's different. We talk about how digital the world is now, right? And kind of how you are, flowing it. You're not conforming, right? You're flowing against that. I think it leads to a couple things. I think what you are kind of wanting to do and how you're going about doing it is exactly what you're talking about, right? Being known in your city, performing in your city so that people in your city know, and everybody in your city, not everybody, right? But a majority of the people in your city know.
They've heard your name before. Exactly. They've seen you perform out somewhere, or somebody of a friend knows who you are, stuff like that.
Whereas, if your sole thing is to get, streams on Spotify or whatever music platform you're using.
Here, have a cookie.
But it's difficult, but there might not be, there's not, but let's say, to make it smaller, let's say, you have 100 streams and they're all over the globe. Well, you might not have 100 fans in Buffalo, but you might have one fan in Buffalo and one fan in Nebraska and one fan in Italy. You know what I mean? So I guess the question would be, depending on what your ultimate goal is, right? When you are in Buffalo performing, chances are if you have a local fan base, you're going to have a greater, percentage of your fans come to your show, right? Whereas, if you only have 2 Buffalo listeners and the rest of your listeners are scattered across the globe, and you do a local show, it might not, you might not have that many people, but it doesn't necessarily mean that there's not people listening. I think it goes back to, like, what I was saying with, there's so many different ways to create music, to upload music, to stream music. You know what I mean? There's so many people trying to do it. It's really difficult for artists to, crack through that next level. Like you talked about a few ways that artists have done it in the recent past. So I think people are always trying to find a new way to do that. And one of those ways in a lot of people's minds, I think, is probably almost like go one-hit wonder style, right? Like have one song that comes across somebody's phone and that song ends up with, whatever a lot of streams is, right? A million streams or whatever. Streams, right. And, it's just that one song. The problem with that, and this is where I think your argument holds the most ground, is you can have one song blow up on TikTok or Spotify now, and nobody will ever listen to the rest of your music. You know what I mean? Because they might just like that one thing, and they see it, they hear it. Maybe they even play that song, but again, that doesn't guarantee that they're going to go check out what else you're doing. They just heard that one song, they liked it. Yeah. Now maybe it gets listened to for the next 3 years, and then everybody else forgets about it.
Yeah, and nobody ever remembers who you are ever again. Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up that point too, because a lot of people don't talk about that, like the one-hit wonder TikTok style stuff. And obviously that's not something that I aspire to be, because who wants to be a one-hit wonder? Whatever happened to I got a pocket full of sunshine.
Oh my God.
Right?
Banger.
I mean, can anybody in this room name who sings that song?
Natasha Bedingfield.
Okay, there you go. Shout out to Natasha.
But you know what I mean? Like, that's...
I actually knew that.
You knew Natasha Bedingfield?
Yeah. Want to know why?
The movie Easy A.
No, they talked about her on the Yak yesterday.
Oh, okay. There you go.
But that's
she's fresh on the brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what you said, and I agree with that. If your ultimate goal is to be Spotify famous, I got 500,000 streams, and like, blah, 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 I'm Spotify famous. I have all these streams from all these different countries. At the end of the day, what are you going to gain from that? You're going to gain streams, You might gain a little money. I don't know how the streaming, money works on Spotify, but I know you do get paid. And then I think the third factor is you definitely will gain some fans on TikTok and Instagram. You'll gain followers. People will follow you from your music, from your artist name, and they will go over and search you and find you, and you'll gain some followers. So that's 3 main factors that you will gain from Spotify. But where my head is right now and my mindset is, if you are not established or well known in your city or your local community, you need to do that first, and then all that comes later. Because if you're not like established in your city, it's more or less just like you talking about your streams. Like, I don't care, because who knows you? Like, how many people come to your shows? Oh, do you get bookings? Like, you don't perform out anywhere? Oh, okay. So you're just mainly like, you're like online, like you're just like online, like streams, like you do videos, stuff like that. Like, that's great. But like, a lot of the time, these people who have like a ton of streams, they're not doing shows. They're not doing bookings. They're just talking about the streams. Yeah. So like I said, if that's your ultimate end goal, having a ton of streams, that's great. That's not mine though. I want my community and my city to know who I am. I want them, when they hear my name, to, remember my face, remember what I looked like, or they don't even have to remember my name. Just be like, oh, that was that girl that sang at that restaurant, a couple months ago, whatever. That's my goal. So when people tell me about streams and stuff, it's kind of wishy-washy. Like, I care about it, and then I don't. Sometimes it's more or less irrelevant to me, because I think as an artist, as a performer, you need to get established in your city so people know who you are. And like I said, all that fun stuff comes later.
Yeah. Well, that's so interesting, because there is obviously such a there's so much put on numbers, like digital numbers.
Yeah, you're right.
Like,
it is put on because people will pay for those streams.
But I mean, there's a lot, like I've heard stories of people like going to, be it comedy clubs or like music venues, and talking to a manager there or something, and the manager will be like, come back when you have this many amount of followers or something.
Yep,
like that,
I've heard
right?
that too. Yep.
Yeah, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. And it's just not tangible. And we know for a fact that the only way that artists get paid today is through live performances, and the only way that you're going to be able to keep doing more live performances is if you can get people to go to your shows. And I think you're right. I mean, obviously it starts locally. Like, man, it's so fascinating, because it again, there really is so much emphasis put on these numbers. This whole
it's all numbers,
digital,
because they're viewing it as competition and sales.
Right. But at the end of the day, it's really, maybe it's not so different as it used to be, where it's like, you sell out a club in your city, and then you get booked at a club in a different city, and then you could start to tour on like small places, and that's how you grow and things like that.
Right.
It's just fascinating. I guess what I'm saying, the emphasis on the digital, when at the end of the day, we're still living in a tangible world, baby. You know what I mean?
Yeah, everybody puts so much emphasis on the internet, and it's just internet, digital. And it's like, I kind of like to use the word embarrassing sometimes, even though, it's disrespectful to use. But like I said, the people that message me and tell me, oh, doing Spotify deals right now, like, hit me up, let me know, like, let's work. It's almost embarrassing when they post online how many streams they have on Spotify, the screenshot. Yet they've never done a live show in their life. No restaurant, hotel, or bar has ever booked them. Nobody in their city, knows their name. And like I said, they're just not doing public in real life appearances that are paid. You need to pave the way for yourself in real life, and not just this online shit. Because guess what? At the end of the day, if the internet ever gets taken away from us, or, we don't have internet and social media anymore, the only thing that we're going to have in real life is public appearances. A lot of these people, they don't even know how to talk in public. They don't even know proper English. They don't even know how to speak to people, So it just kind of goes to show you, like, sometimes it's embarrassing for them to say, I got 40,000 streams on my new single. Yeah, woohoo.
Right, but at the end of the day, like, what does it gain you? Right, except for the ability to just kind of post that. And maybe
to
have
post
some people,
it, yeah. I mean, good for you, but it's not my end goal.
Yeah. So what is the end goal? Just to become known in the city and go from there?
You got to become known in the city. if you do have a big break, which I've had somebody disagree with me using that term before, but if you get a big break, like some of the people here in Western New York have been on The Voice, have been on American Idol, have been on America's Got Talent, and I went to a few of their shows before. After they came back from the season, whether they won or not, they got very far. Props to them, because I view that as a big break. Do you guys view, like, getting on The Voice or getting on American Idol or America's Got Talent as a big break? Because I think that is such a good opportunity and platform for an artist or a performer to use to upgrade yourself even bigger from that. Because whether you win or not, some people don't even make it to the top 10. But whether, how far you get or not, that is a break for you. Because first of all, you're on television. Like, you're on, anybody around the world can like watch your, or in the country, watch you on television on like a national American singing competition show. That to me is a great opportunity to, use that to your advantage, to seriously upgrade and promote yourself, so that even when you get off that show, if you get kicked off the show or you don't make it to the next round, people who watch the show, if they like you, they're still going to go onto your social media and find you. And so you can still do big things even if you don't make it off of there. But I do view it as a big break because you can do so much with it. You can make it to be whatever you want. But some people don't like to view it as, she was on The Voice, but she didn't even make it to the semifinals. So, she's a loser now. She's back in her city,
Well,
so some
people
view it like that. But
yeah, I mean, I think it really, if you're going to get on a show like that, getting there doesn't matter so much as what you do with it. Like, I think there are a lot of people, who have even placed very high on those shows or even or won them, and for whatever reason, they just kind of fall off. They aren't really working necessarily. But I've also seen some people who don't finish first, and then they're like, okay, I'm just whatever. Like, that was a cool opportunity. I'm just running, keep going at whatever's next for me.
Because look at Adam Lambert. I mean, we all know who that is. Jennifer Hudson and Carrie Underwood, Kelly Clarkson. But I can't name any winners off The Voice. Can you?
Not a Voice guy. My girlfriend probably could. She watches The Voice.
Yeah.
But you want to know who's really good at doing that, though, that I've noticed? And again, this is kind of anti what we've been talking about and kind of what your ultimate goal is. But reality TV stars, like
Jersey Shore.
First of all, fantastic television show.
Right.
Not making fun of Jersey Shore whatsoever.
Yeah.
But like modern day reality TV, I feel like all of the people that compete end up, and again, whether this is the life you want to live or not, but they do a really good job of, once they leave that show, whether they get voted off or don't win in the end, whatever it is, of growing some type of brand or making a brand out of themselves.
I mean,
right?
I really think no matter what, in all these situations, it depends on the individual.
Yeah,
like, I think there's a certain point where you're all kind of on the same playing field if you're getting on these shows or whatever. It just depends on how hard you want to work with that opportunity.
Right. And I think, too, kind of changing the topic, but I know that you'll relate to this because you're in the sports industry, but look at like the NFL industry. How many of those guys who are in middle school, who are in high school, when they're still a youngin', literally, like, that's their passion. Football is their passion. Like, they're so passionate about it, and like they know that they want to be in the NFL, and they know that they have the potential to be in the NFL. I feel like the sports industry is humble. Like, the NFL, I feel like people, like, they're humble. Like, because they work so hard, like, to be where they're at. So, like, when they get signed and, like, when they get on that team, like, it's so life-changing for them because they have worked so incredibly hard for it. Because just nobody can just get into the NFL. It can't just be anybody. Yeah. That you have to be qualified for it. I mean, athletically, you have to be qualified for it. So, but at the end of the day, like, I would say there's maybe a little less competition in the sports industry because, in the music industry, it's just artists, performers, competing against each other. But in the NFL industry, they do kind of correlate a little bit because, both industries are working very hard to like be where they're at from a young age. But obviously the sports industry, I feel like, gets a better paycheck at the end of the day than, rising artists who are trying to like make something out of themselves. So.
Yeah, I don't know if it's less competitive necessarily, but I do think that there's probably more people who start off saying to themselves, I want to make it to the NFL when they're young that do kind of start to drop off, as opposed to people who say, I want to make it in the music industry or whatever.
Yeah.
That then just like keep going without doing that much work or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
because your results in any sporting type of thing are, again, so much more tangible. Like, it's physical. It's very easy to measure than a lot of the other stuff we're talking about. Also, these are all team sports, right? So if there's a great play, it's usually not just one guy who's making it. It's a couple guys involved.
Mm-hmm. I think
So
it is
that's the
teamwork.
difference.
It is teamwork too, like at the end of the day. But you see these people get signed like right out of high school. No matter what sport it is, it could be football, baseball. I worked with somebody when I was working at Tops for when I was in high school. My coworker, her son didn't even go to college, was signed. Is it the Texas Rangers? It's a baseball team. Yeah, got signed. Like, didn't even finish high school. Like, literally just got signed. Like, he was that good, and now he's making like millions of dollars salary.
Yeah,
like,
well, baseball, they make crazy money over
Right.
there. There's no salary cap, right?
But it just goes to
there's
show
luxury
you
tax.
like how you're passionate for it, you're good at it. Like, it just goes to show you like
it's true. You do have to be good at it.
You
gotta be mad passionate.
you
That's the
yeah.
only thing that's
Some
gonna keep
people
you
are
going.
passionate but don't have it.
Yeah, and
You know.
also got. That there's also a self-awareness that you got to have in those
Right.
situations for sure, which is tough.
Right.
But Olivia, this very interesting perspective that you have about the tangible. How much does your family, the people in your life, how much do they have to do with you having that idea, that perspective?
So they know my perspective. They also know that they put me through college for 4 years. So, they obviously want me to work in my field, in which I am, which is behavioral health. I didn't tell anybody this, but I got accepted to grad school at the University of Miami a couple months ago, to finish my 2 years to
Cool.
become a mental health counselor. But it's so incredibly, it's exciting, but at the end of the day, it's like, why should I let my singing career go to waste? I'm still so young. I'm single. I don't have kids. I'm not married. I technically have nothing holding me back. So it's hard because a lot of people have asked me oh my gosh, well, do you ever want to do music full time? Just, just kind of do that for the moment. And I'm like, yeah, but it doesn't pay. If you don't get bookings and shows and stuff like that, it's hard because what money do you have? But obviously I have my job with kids. My focus is mental health in children and in adolescents. And so, going to college for that, for psychology, and my minor is in counseling. So my counseling classes were so exciting for me. I loved them because it just gave me so much even more passion to start working with kids in the mental health field. But at the end of the day too, it's when I was going to college and I did release my album and I was in the studio and stuff like that, music, I had such a calling for that album, so I had to drop it when I did. If I could have waited a couple more years to do it, I probably would have. But at the end of the day, I graduated, I got my degree, and so it was more or less just about what kind of came as a higher calling. Singing will always be and always has been my first true love. It's always just been what I did. But at the end of the day, this is real life. This is reality. You have to get a job. You have to, do something with your degree. Not necessarily. If you graduate college, you're oh, I just don't like this, degree anymore, or this field, you can go for something else. But, trying to kind of balance the two, it gets a little interesting because it's either, okay, I'm full force into music and less on my, my field that I graduated in, or I'm full force into my field of schooling and my music's on back burner for now. And so I've had people tell me different things, you should really move out to a city where music is really at its peak, that way agents can find you and people can sign you and stuff like that. But then I'm you know what? I kind of just want to finish my last 2 years, become licensed, and then have my clients be able to make a good good salary where I don't have to like rely on anybody. You know, whatever is in future for me, I just want to be able to be like independent and be able to fully, you know, be financially okay by myself. Because at the end of the day, no one's coming to save you. So, you know, kind of with that said, it's mainly just right now working in my field, using my degree, obviously, but also I'm not gonna like just forget about my passion, because at the end of the day, I feel like you're only young once. You know what I mean? So, and like I said,
that's probably true.
You know what I mean? Because you're young.
Benjamin Button, he's got you there.
Yeah.
Damn. Sorry.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean you're only young once. So all this schooling is great. Like, you know, we've all been through school. We've all done college. Like we know how it is. But you know, nothing's holding me back right now. So it's like I would like to be able to have that lifestyle of, you know, doing multiple bookings a week, singing at restaurants, singing at hotels, doing shows, getting paid for that, singing at casinos, stuff like that. But, you know, I do want to use my degree as well, because my calling is to really help children. And so, but then again, I always tell like my family, like, you know, you're only young once, follow your dreams, follow your passions. And still be working, obviously, at the same time. You could still work and have a job and follow your passion, but you can go back to school whenever you want. When I was in college at UB, like, there were like 60 and 70-year-olds in my classes. And it was different to see at first, because, you know, you think like, oh, I'm in college. You're supposed to be like 18, 19, 20, 21, stuff like that. But then it was kind of inspiring to see, because it's like, wow, you can really go back to school whenever you want. Doesn't matter like how old you are, what age you are, but you're only young once. So do the things that you want to do while you're young, while you're single, while you don't have any kids or anything, and follow your dreams, follow your passions, because you can go back to school whenever you want.
You make a lot of great points, Olivia. Very interesting.
Thanks.
You know, you strike me as somebody who really, you know, you're pretty insightful. Like, you notice things, but you really take them to heart as well. You really learn from the things that you're perceiving and paying attention to.
Yeah, could be good and bad. Sometimes
Sure.
I do take things personally sometimes, but, you know.
That's the way
it
it goes.
happens. So
before we let you get out of here, we should do the Who Would Win.
We
If
do
you're
have
down.
to do
yeah,
that with
absolutely.
Win of the Week.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Who Would Win of the Week this week is Lois Griffin from Family Guy versus Britney Spears. Britney lately, she's dancing with knives.
We have to decide. Is it current Britney Spears, or are we like early 2000s, mid 2000s Britney Spears?
Like toxic Britney?
Yeah.
What's the difference, really, at the end of the day? I think now we just know more about her. Now we're just getting an insight into see who she is.
So we're doing
necessarily
modern day
more.
Britney.
I think just Britney Spears. Whatever you think of when you think of Britney Spears, that's what it should be.
I know who mine is.
I think I know who mine is as well. Just because, you know, whenever we do somebody from like the Family Guy universe, when you think about it, that show is a comedy, but like it's really... There's a lot of violence in that universe. And Lois is like flipping around. She's beating people up just as much as like Peter, Stewie, and the chicken, like all that stuff. Like if you want to survive in the Family Guy universe, you got to be tough.
You got to be able to take an ass kicking.
Yeah.
For sure.
And dish one out.
Yeah. I don't know.
Brittany does seem... Also, I think you don't get to where Brittany is without being a little bit ruthless.
Yeah. I actually think that Brittany's former self would have been better suited for this fight against Lois. No offense to her current self, but she definitely... I think you're right. I think when she was at the peak of her performing...
Peak of her powers.
Peak of her powers, she was ruthless. I don't think that's how she is anymore.
I don't know if I'd stay ruthless, but like I think she's still
like I think when she was at the peak of her power, she wanted it. Like, you know, we talked about this earlier. Like she wanted to be.
Yeah, but I
great.
think it's so clear though. I think if you watch like her Instagram videos, that she still very much wants something, even though she may never reach the point that she was at before.
I don't know if she's still capable of accomplishing it. Is the thing.
Yeah, but that's not. What does that really matter when she's being still driven by the same thing, especially in this confrontation. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're getting to. What do you think, Olivia?
I'm going Lois.
I like Lois too.
Yeah.
I think she can kick the shit out of modern day Britney. Toxic Britney, maybe different story.
Oh yeah, with that snake backing her
Yeah.
up, you never know, man.
Mm-hmm. But modern day Britney's getting her shit kicked in without a doubt. He doesn't know.
I mean, I'm sticking with Lois just because, again, like we've seen her really, really get into fights, but I don't think Britney's going to be a pushover either.
I don't know.
That's all I'm saying. I just want you to put a little respect on her
I guess
name
I've
before
never
we
really
lock it in.
seen her getting a good old fashioned fisticuffs, whereas I've seen Lois do it.
Yeah,
So I'm pretty
she throws
confident.
Are you a
in
Britney
Lois'
fan?
ability.
down. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I guess so. I'm not
I'm
like
a
huge
Britney.
I like Britney Spears.
Britney Spears music always gets the people going.
Yeah, sure.
Always.
Yeah, I don't know.
Are you a Britney fan?
I don't really listen to her stuff, but I'm really for her, especially when all that stuff was kind of happening, when our parents kind of had a lock on her. I was
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
supportive of her. I really
Yeah.
was.
With her, what is it called?
Yeah, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it.
Conservatorship. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is no longer, right?
No
Oh
longer.
yeah, she's free.
No.
She's free,
She's
baby.
free.
The hashtag worked. We did it.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
should all
Britney.
pat ourselves
Shout out
on the
to
back.
all of us.
Yeah, shout out to
Yeah.
all of us for doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
We nailed it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm taking Lois. I think she's kicking the shit out of Britney. No offense to Britney.
Okay, as long
Yeah.
as you throw that in there,
Yeah.
that's yeah. No offense to Britney, but yeah, Lois is. I mean,
That's a clean sweep.
it sounds like
that
it.
happening that easily. Vote on that on Friday on Instagram. Who would win of the week? Before we get out of here, few things to talk about.
Okay.
First of all, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
We
you guys.
appreciate it. I know we talked a lot about different social media aspects and stuff like that, but and we gently touched on earlier that you've got some new projects you're working on. So, is there anything new and upcoming? Where can people find you? Where can people listen to your music?
Yes, so definitely upcoming new single this summer, coming very soon. And my Instagram handle is OliviaAmorian. And yes, new single Miami is dropping.
Okay. Finally, because you've
This
been teasing.
summer.
I feel like
Yeah.
you've been teasing it for a very
I
long
know,
time.
I
Olivia.
have. I got to stop doing that. But like, it's been like 3 years since I wrote it. And so that's why I've really been putting my all into it and a lot of effort into wanting to drop the best quality. And because I just feel like it's such a good song that I cannot just post about it casually. I want to just really go big or go home with it. So yeah, definitely everybody look forward to that. It's going to really take you into an experience of the city, honestly. So whether you've been there or not, it's going to definitely capture the essence of the city, the aesthetic, all that. It's very a tropical song. It's a summer song. You can play it at your cookout, play it at a pool party, play it at the beach. Also has a little of, a romantic vibe to it as well, too. So, yeah, I can't wait for everybody to finally hear it and have it finally be released on, all platforms and stuff so that it's actually out. You can listen to it, add it to your playlist, and enjoy the essence of the song.
So what made you want to branch out a little bit and do a song like this?
It came out of nowhere, honestly. I was on vacation a few years ago in Florida. I had never been to Miami, though. I wasn't in Miami. I was 3 hours away from it. But I always wanted to go to Miami. And just like the sound of it, the pictures that I've seen, just the aesthetic, I was like, I really, really want to go. It just looks so beautiful. And there's so many different things to do there. The cuisine there, too, is amazing. I've never had a bad meal in Miami. A lot of great Spanish food, authentic Mexican food, as well. And South Beach is so beautiful. And so, but I'd never been there. So I was really, fantasizing about wanting to go. And as I was on vacation, just sitting by the pool, it just kind of came to me. And I wrote it. I think I wrote it in like less than a day. And kind of worked out the kinks. And, I did add a second verse onto it, though, because at first I didn't have a second verse. And I was like, this is way too short. I need to change it. So I added a second verse. And yeah, that's kind of how it came about.
Awesome. I'm excited to finally hear it.
Me too. I'm excited for everybody to see the shoots and the the visuals of it.
Are you going to be doing a video too?
So I don't know about a video yet. We're going to be doing we're going to be doing teasers. I don't know about a full-on music video.
Gotcha.
Though.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll definitely see some visuals of the city and stuff and the aesthetic, but I don't know about a full-on music video. Just yet.
Yeah. That's interesting, though. That might be pretty beneficial if you do like a series, because it doesn't put you in one little box, right? Like you do a full video.
Yeah.
To kind of be like, okay, here's this one thing, this whole video.
Yeah.
If you do it like that, it's like, okay, highlight different parts of the song, like you were talking about, the romantic thing. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, and you're right though, because I think visualizers nowadays was within the past, like, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 couple years, visualizers have been more like beneficial and more cooler to watch, I guess. #2 in the cooler. But definitely more cooler to watch than just like a music video that's like 3 or 4 minutes long and people are getting antsy as soon as they get to like 30 seconds, halfway, a minute. But visualizers are definitely great, and they're quick too. So it's like a lot of the people on social media now don't really have a huge attention span, so it's like after 30 seconds, like they're done. They just keep scrolling, So visualizers are definitely going to capture, what I wanted to visualize in the song. So,
do you have people like in your circle that you trust, that you want to work with on this, that are going to be able to like get the aesthetic that you want?
As for like a team for like recording, or are you talking about somebody as a feature on it?
No, I'm talking about like when you do these, like the visual,
the editing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I already have my girl down there.
That's
so
cool.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Yeah. I have a director down there. I've been talking with her now for almost a year. But yeah, I found her. She's done great work. She actually just worked with Lil Baby the other day. She said he was super cool, super nice, and she works with some big names. And so yeah, I'm having her do my stuff. And so yeah, I'm very excited. I fully trust her, and I've seen her work. It's great. It's good quality, and so I'm excited to finally work with her and work out there. Of course, weather is always, everything's weather depending. So if there's a hurricane, yeah, we're gonna have to, we're gonna have to reschedule it. But
could work that in. That could be an interesting
right?
visualizer. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, but we have some stuff planned, some different types of scenes. So yeah, definitely. She's got her team out there. She also told me that she's got 2 assistants coming to help as well, which is cool. So yeah, if I need any help with anything, like they will be there to help me and assist me and stuff like that. So
cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, thanks again, Olivia.
Yeah,
good to see you.
Thanks so much for coming on. Me, guys.
Everybody check that out. Andy, I love you.
Love you too. Let's get out of here. Thanks, folks.